James, you want to go next?
If it's okay, yeah, I'd love to.
Cool.
Awesome. What you got?
I've been working. I have one book out called Doggy Dog Daze, but right now I'm working on another book called Bushington. So this is one of the chapters from Bushington. It should have a title. It's Bushington's Secret Power. And this is one of the middle chapters, so that's why it's. We caught Bushington at the metal detector. He had his airplane ticket around his collar and was about to go through, but we stopped him and forced Bushington into the car and drove home. We then had a one-time family discussion and told Bushington if he ever did that again, he'd go back to the non-kill shelter, and we didn't give him any treats for a month. No more treats for Bushington. Bad Bushington. Then, though, other than his ability to use the telephone and mail out postcards, we discovered, over time, Bushington's other secret power. There's an old adage. If you put a frog in a boiling pot, he'll jump out. But if you put a frog in a cold pot and heat it slowly, it'll cook in 30 minutes. This was Bushington's secret power. Bushington started out with Roberta, who was the easiest for him. See, along with Bob and Sean, Roberta came home from school and Bushington went to her right ankle and rubbed his body against Roberta's leg. So Roberta pet him, and that's when Bushington's new superpower first emerged. As the day went on, we had dinner and Bushington whined, but no one gave him scraps, since this was part of Bushington's punishment. Then the phone rang and it was Roberta's boyfriend. She had a phone in her room, so she took the call in there. Bushington followed her and she closed the door. Everything seemed back to normal. But let you and I, me the father and you, the reader, see what happened. Roberta and her boyfriend Frank were arguing about sports, money, parents, and other things, and her boyfriend decided to break up with her. So instead of telling me, her father, who would have understood, maybe let her cry on my shoulders a bit or taken her out to eat to cheer her up, she decided to complain to Bushington, since Bushington is a dog and who would he tell? So she said, why? Why would he do this to me? And she cried. Things were going well and I thought we'd date, get married, the whole 9 bits, and we might have even gone to the same college. And Roberta went on and Bushington listened, but listened in a way Roberta knew he was listening. He wasn't distracted by deadlines. The only place Bushington was going now was outside to go potty, and he didn't distract himself with other activities. He just listened, and then the inevitable happened. Roberta said to Bushington, and Mom and Dad don't know this, but I have a secret stash of money I've saved from odd jobs like babysitting in my locked diary in case I need to buy something Mom and Dad don't approve of. And I bought one thing Mom and Dad don't approve of. And she showed it to Bushington. It was a toy from a TV show Mom and Dad didn't like, so they thought it was a bad influence on her. Once she got a detention at school for a practical joke, unscrewing the screws in a teacher's chair she saw on the TV show. But who would Bushington tell? Then Bushington started spending time with our 7-year-old son, Bob. Now the reader doesn't know about Bob, and that's his dad's fault. Bob's thin, he eats, he's not anorexic, but he's thin and sometimes looks like he has kyphosis, a hunchback, but he doesn't. He just hunches sometimes. Well, Bushington hung out with Bob and slept in Bob's bed. Bushington also hung out at Bob's feet at the table. He still spent time with Roberta, but not as much time. The inside of Bob's room had the smell opposite of soap. It stunk. Bob knew this, but he was numb to this. But when Bushington came into Bob's room, Bob put Bushington in the bed and hugged Bushington like Bob's 5-year-old teddy bear. Bushington hates this. Bushington prefers to curl in a ball to conserve Bushington's heat, but Bushington is a smart dog and let himself be used like a teddy bear. Then Bushington heard the woes of Bob. Bob was a great student, got A's and B's, but didn't have any friends. Bob told Bushington that Bob wasn't good at sports, told Bushington Bob cried at night, and told him Bob got scared. Bushington got more than Bushington could hope for, but Bob continued. Bob told Bushington he was scared of heights, scared talking to girls, and wished Bob could talk to a girl named Sue at school, but didn't know how and thought Bob would probably screw it up. Bob told Bushington Bob wished Bob had more friends. Bob also said this morning he saw two girls by the locker hugging and wished he could have gotten one too. Bob tugged Bushington in the bed hard, and Bushington had no choice but to squirm out since Bushington couldn't breathe. But Bob grabbed Bushington again and cuddled with Bob until Bob fell asleep. Then Bushington squirmed out of the full Nelson hug and slept at the foot of the bed. The next day, Bushington went to the bed of Sean, the good kid. Sean let Bushington sleep with him, and for a few nights, Bushington didn't hear anything bad. But on the fifth night, Sean said it wasn't fair Mom and Dad expected Sean to be the example for Bob and Roberta. Sean was tired of playing sports all the time, getting straight A's, and being the good example. That night at dinner, Bushington fetched out his PDA and turned up the volume. Bushington wrote down on the PDA with his nose. So that's how he applied to the colleges. But Bushington said he'd listened to everything Roberta, Sean, and Bob said, and said if Bushington wasn't given treats and meat immediately, that Bushington was going to tell me and Mom all of our kids' secrets. Well, Bushington didn't get a treat, but got a timeout. His PDA was taken away, and that was the start of our family meetings, every week to find out what was going on in each other's lives. We stole Bushington's power of active listening, but after 1 month, everyone felt better, and Bushington was given treats again, but no PDA, or so we thought. Thank you.
That's a fun story.
That's really fun.
Thank you.
What kind of dog is Bushington?
But I know he's a small dog. I think it's part, I think Jack Russell Terrier, Chihuahua, and Corgi.
All right. Well, you get to be the creator, so what you say goes.
Thank you, guys.